good Jesus reached out his loving hand and caressed me 3 times on the forehead and the head. In the past, with her image, Our Lady, the Mother of God, had greatly comforted me when I had temptations. I remember this now, and I am begging her to help me. Once when I was at Little St. Anna in the Holy Mount Athos, temptations and sorrows abounded, and my only consolation was Our Holy Mother of God. I used to go up to our little church where I had this image on the icon stand, and there in front of her I prayed and begged her for her intercessions to our Lord Jesus Christ, as she alone had promised me to have my hope in her. And when during temptations grace hides her perceptible presence, then the agony increases and the man pleads with more awe. Quick as merciful to our aid, that you are able, I cried, and where can we find another? Perceive it is not towards you, the compassionate one, the physician of souls and bodies, that we turn to. And while I was concentrating and weeping in front of her image, I felt as before the presence of her perception. The space inside that little church was narrow. The distance from the icon stand and the pew I was standing on was only 3 feet. And then I saw her image that flashed light, and her divine form assumed normal dimensions. Our Virgin Mother was no longer an icon, but alive, full-bodied, super-illuminated, sun-like, with her always double attributed Mother and Virgin. And the humble man saw as much as my mortality permitted, and respectfully turned my face to the earth. I could no longer look, because her most holy infant, our sweet Jesus, whom she held in her arms, shone brighter than the sun in his divine majesty. He so filled my loneliness with his love that I was completely ignorant of myself and only admired. Then I heard her sweeter than honey voice saying to me, "Didn't I tell you to put your hope in me? Why are you discouraged? Here, take Christ," she said to me. She extended her blessed embrace to me, and the all-holy infant drew near to me as far as man can reach, because I did not dare to take any move due to my surprise. Our all-good Jesus reached out his little hand and caressed me 3 times on the forehead and on the head. My soul was filled with immeasurable love and light, that I could no longer stand on my feet. I fell down, and with lust and tears I kissed the place where the Queen of Heaven of all stood, for she returned again to her icon, the image, and left to me her consolation and fragrance. For a long time she perfumed the place she had stepped on, constantly reminding her of me of her blessed promise. Here I remind her now that I have not forgotten her promise, which is nothing more than to take me from this life to the kingdom of her Son, of the Son of her love. This is by Saint Joseph the Isihast, from, of course, he was a monk and righteous, blessed elder of the Holy Mount Athos, and I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Now, many of you may not know, but there are instances where the icons, before we had the icons, we had statues, and in the bust of the statues, in the early Christian church, they used to put holy relics of the saints. Of course, when the relics, were no longer available, they just had the statues, and the statues were heavy and bulky. Then they came up with icons. Icons many times also had relics implanted in them, or maybe not, just icons. But icons, many a time, what happens is the saint comes out of the icon and appears to us as a living person, just like the prophet Moses and the prophet Elijah appeared in the transfiguration of Jesus Christ on Mount Tabor, because they are not dead, they are alive. Saints are alive. So in this case, the Virgin Mary holding the baby infant Jesus stepped out of the icon to console this elder in his temptations and tribulations. So that we have heard of many a time happening in the Christian Orthodox spiritual experiences. And one of them was, for example, when Saint Nectarius, it was a miracle with him in the 1960s. A young man, 24 years old, had gone to a church. I don't know if it was a monastery, just a church. He went to the basement of the church, and he saw icons in rows on little concrete benches, and one of the icons had no saint depicted in it. And the young man stood there, and he was wondering, looking at it, where he says, "Where's the saint?" And this young man had gone to the church because he was ill with leukemia, and he did not have much time left to live. This is back in the 1960s. Okay, medical research and technology has increased a lot in leukemia since then, but at that time he was just about ready to kick the bucket. He was 24 years old, unmarried, and very sick. And this elder asks him, he says, "What are you doing here? How can I help you?" He said, "I came because I wanted to pray. I'm dying. I have leukemia." And the elder said, "Oh, rubbish. You're not going to die. You're going to live until about 100 years old. Not only that, you're going to become a priest monk. And you're not going to die. You're going to be healed very quickly." And the young man thought that this man was saying rubbish. And they talked about Christ, they talked about faith, they talked about belief. Because this young man was, he wasn't really a practicing Christian. He was just dying, So he said, "I might as well go to church, do something, light a candle or something." So he, out of nowhere, this elder comes and speaks to him, and he says, "Tell the women not to burn the oil of the holy unction, but if you drink it 3 little drops a day, it will cure cancer in 40 days, he told them. I read the miracles. I read this situation, and that's what I remember, and I tell everybody I can. I'm telling you as well. The holy unction of the Christian Orthodox, one of the sacraments is the sacrament of holy unction. So I have met this man, who definitely later on became a priest monk, with the name of Nectarios, in Camarisa. He has since passed away a couple of years back. And he had seen, when the elder stopped speaking to the man turned around to see the icon, and he saw in the icon the figure of Saint Nectarios of Aegina, which was previously not in the image, in the icon. So he looks back to see where the elder was gone. The elder disappeared, but the elder that he was talking to all this time was the same one that was in the missing, the icon with the missing saint. It was that was the saint he was talking to. Obviously, this is a miracle. Okay, so this happens many times from what we hear, and also this happened to the Isihast here in Mount Athos, and we see a painting here of him outside his little cell. That happened to him as well. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.